Welcome in, everybody, to Game Day Live. It is the last home game of the regular season for the Winnipeg Sea Bears. I'm Joey Slattery. Thanks for tuning in. If you're not following us already, make sure to give us a follow at Target Score Pod on Instagram, at Joey Slattery TV on Instagram. We've got Elias El-Zein standing by, going to break down the Ottawa BlackJacks, who are in town. Not too often we have the BlackJacks in town, and it is a massive, massive game for the Ottawa BlackJacks here today. Always, big game for the Sea Bears as well. We'll get that into it a little bit. Excited to get things started here. This is a big game for the Winnipeg Sea Bears. I mean, let's not get it twisted. I know that the playoffs have been booked, and Jimmy Slash showing off the new cut. What's up, Ty? Our stat guy Ty already in the comments. Where's your stat of the day? We need a stat of the day from stat guy Ty. Good to see you, Ty. But yeah, this is a game that Winnipeg kind of needs, right? Things have been going well for Winnipeg at home, particularly up until the last few games. They've lost 2 games on national TV in Winnipeg. Both afternoon games, not making excuses, but that was the key difference. And that last game against Brampton was frustrating. We heard Mike Rainbow call out Perry Stollert by name and how he wasn't happy with the reffing at the end, or particularly that last call, the foul on Teddy Allen that fouled him out and got Sean East to the line to win the game. It was a great game. But, again, that was a team that was desperate in Brampton, that, wanted to clinch their playoff spot, have had a rough patch of their own. It's going to be much of the same tonight. Tonight, they're playing a team that could book their spot to the playoffs. And Ottawa's a team I've been saying all year, I don't want to play them in the playoffs, right? Like, they're in the East. It's the East's problem. But Ottawa's a team for me. If they can close it out tonight, use the last game of the year to, tune up whatever they need to tune up, it is a scary, scary team, as is Montreal. Montreal would be eliminated from playoff contention with an Ottawa win tonight. Now, had a chance to head out to morning shoot today for the Sea Bears. Vibes are good. This is a team that's had a lot of rest, right? This is a team that struggled for a while simply because the fatigue, I think, at the end. They've been traveling a lot. They've been playing a lot of games back to back to back. They haven't had a lot of chance to practice. This is a team that I think needed the rest at the right time. We're going to get into it as we go along here because, Isaiah Osborne still needs to find his stroke. Teddy Allen played well in the first half, but got into foul trouble, wasn't able to play after that for most of that second half. And when he was on, Sean East attacked him and, made it pretty easy on him here. But, this is a team that I think is looking forward to this one. They want to get that winning taste at home, right? I know it sounds weird because all year it was like, hey, they're playing at home. They need home advantage. I don't know if it's as important anymore. They just got to win games, whether it's at home or on the road. But if you win tonight, it's big for the morale playing at home because that first game is going to be at home. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I know it matters to them. They're trying to fabricate that playoff feel, and they're going to get that intensity from Ottawa tonight. But win or lose, this game really doesn't matter for Winnipeg. It really comes down to Sunday. And we'll get into that. We'll get into the standings as to why that is. But, this is a team that, needs to get that winning feel back at home. Mike Rainbow this morning talked about that a little bit, the rest that they got and how he feels his team should respond now that they've had a few days to practice and just kind of get away from game situation and have time to breathe.
Well, I think first and foremost, we were thankful for a little bit of a reprieve, a couple days of rest and try to get our bodies a bit healed up and refreshed. And, we had a couple of good days of practice too, where we were able to really get after it and work on some of our stuff. And I think the biggest thing for us is we understand that, we're getting everybody's best game now this time of season. And really, it's playoff type of environment, the rest of the way. And, for us, we still feel like we haven't played our absolute best game as a group yet. And we feel like, we're inching towards doing that at the most important time. And, if we're going to be able to do that in the postseason, we have to continue to try to take steps forward. And tonight's a big part of that.
Yeah, you see the CJOB mic in there. Christian O'Mell, the play-by-play voice for CJOB, the radio side of things, was there today as well. We were chatting a little bit. He had a good interview. If you have a chance, I think it's online if you go to CJOB. But he had a good chance to speak with Isaiah Osborne. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to him today. But everybody knows, with Isaiah offensively, he's been struggling. I think he's 0 for 15 from 3 in the last 3 games. This is a guy who was shooting the lights out when he first came to Winnipeg. But here's the thing. He's a veteran. and they're not too worried about it. And the thing is he's going to find a stroke. Once he does, that's when Winnipeg is playing its best, right? You've got Teddy Allen, you've got Xavier Moon, you've got Jeremiah Tillman Jr., but Isaiah Osborne tends to be the guy that can hit those big shots, but he does so much more than that. Here's Mike Rainbow and Xavier Moon on that.
He continues to contribute to the team in so many other ways. I mean, obviously we need him to make shots. And, when we're at our best, he's making shots, but we also need him to rebound and defend and talk and, fix situations that are, problematic because of his, veteran IQ and the things that he sees and his voice and his ability to, help formulate winning possessions.
Keep shooting. I don't care if you miss 10. If I pass you 10 more, shoot the next 10. We believe in him. He's confident. I have no issues with him shooting the ball at any time in the game, and I feel like he'll be big for us tonight.
Yeah. And I think fans would be very happy if he was big for them tonight and got a few shots down. I know this is an area where people have been concerned. We've had it in the comments. We've had it in DMs. People like Isaiah Osborne, and he's been a great addition for this team. He plays a very important role as your main Canadian starter. And it's been very consistent in that role. But as Mike Rainbow mentioned, he's not shooting well. Doesn't mean he's not playing well. He's such an important, integral part of this team that, he still needs to hit the shots. But, I think we focus too much on the offense at times. But it is important. Hence why the Seabears have struggled to score. Last game, 29 points from Teddy. 28 points from Xavier. I don't know if anybody else was in double digits, right? So they need guys like Isaiah Osborne. He needs to give you 10. He needs to hit some big shots, give you 10, and it puts the Seabears in a much better position. But yeah, we'll figure it out. They got to figure that out as they go along. Stat Guy Ty, number of hairs cut that Jimmy isn't showing on stream. There's your stat. Thanks, Stat Guy Ty. And hey, we got our friends in Leicester, UK tuning in. What's up, Joe and family? Let's get that dub tonight. Hey, we're going to have a good story about them tonight on the broadcast. They were here for 3 games. They were here for Teddy Allen's 54 points. That's important because that's the connection. Teddy Allen played for the Leicester Riders, and that's where you come in. Always good to have you on, Joe. I know it's a little later in the day where you are, so thanks for making the time. I keep seeing NSD8445. Appreciate you. I don't have a name, but I love that you're on here. He says, Winnipeg is winning. Don't even doubt it for a second. Okay, so vibes are high. Vibes are high. Got Joe coming in again. Need to find a way to get Tilly points early. Sets plays for him. Osborne just needs to regain confidence. Was a great at the start. Totally agree with you, Joe. This is exactly the thing with Isaiah. We know what he's capable of. He just has to get it going. And as Xavier Moon said, just got to feed him the ball, and he just has to keep shooting. Before we bring on Elias El-Zein, here is what Xavier Moon had to say on the big game tonight. Because as I said, it's not actually worth anything in terms of getting into the playoffs or securing home court. It really doesn't matter. But in a lot of ways, it does.
Obviously, they're going to play hard. It's desperation time. Getting out to those last couple of games, everybody's trying to make their push for the playoffs. This game does mean a lot to us. We need to win the game just as much as they do. So we'll come out with a ton of energy in this first quarter, man, and try to put them away early. We got to get out and run in transition, try to negate their size, get into their bodies. We know we're going to have to box out, rebound as a group. So that's one of our main focuses going into tonight.
Yeah, and then before I get one more for Elias, because I asked Mike Rainbow about it too, the scouting report, there's one guy that they're really concerned about, and if you don't lock him down, it could be a long night for Winnipeg.
Everything starts with Smart, his ability to, make everybody better, take games over individually, push the pace, get to certain spots on the floor, make big shots. But more than anything, I think the message is the urgency that they have. It's a huge game for them with where they're at in the standings and what they're trying to do, and we expect nothing but their best effort.
Yeah, it's hey, man, this is do or die for Ottawa in a lot of ways. Like, they just want to stamp that ticket for sure and start preparing for the playoffs. It has been absolutely wild in the East, and no one knows that better than our friend Elias El-Zein, who is the play-by-play announcer for the Ottawa BlackJacks. Elias, thank you so much for making the time here today on Game Day Live. How are you, my friend?
Good, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Man, this team, you've been through the ups and downs this year. The East has been, saying it's tight is an understatement. We still don't know how this is going to land. Brampton just punched their ticket after a strange up and down. Great start to the season, real struggle in the second half, and I felt like last game was the ball didn't lie. As good as Montreal has come and all the adversity they had gone through, I think Brampton's the team that should be in the playoffs. If one team has to be out, I think Montreal is the team that just, I think they're the odd team out. That could be the case tonight. But what's it been like for fans, for you in Ottawa, calling these games and kind of seeing the ins and outs and ups and downs of this Ottawa BlackJacks team?
I mean, of course, I think the fans and the organization themselves would want to have more wins. That's for sure. It's been up and down. I think it's tough. They went 6-6 at home. Can't really drop 6 games when you only play 12 at home. It's just such a short, condensed season, right? 24 games. Guys, in and out of the lineup, and that's across the league. They had a couple guys go to summer league. They have them back now, but Cleveland's been coming off the bench. They're 0-3 in those games since he's been back from summer league, dropping 2 important ones to Eastern Conference rivals in Montreal and Niagara on the road. In Niagara, they were up by 27, a team that usually has their number. Ottawa's been pretty good against them, has the season series advantage there, but that was a big game to drop last weekend. And like you said, this is a must-win for Ottawa. They win, they're in. They have 2 more games. They control their destiny. I think head coach Mike Rainbow put it well there, where he said it starts with smart. And I think Javante does a lot for this team with and without the ball. I mean, he scores it. He's up there in the league, 3rd in scoring. He's 2nd assist, but it's also his off-the-ball stuff, the way he moves to get open, because the defenses have changed the way they've guarded him. So he's really had to work to get buckets. But he also always just tries to get his teammates involved first and foremost. We know he can score, and he can score at all 3 levels. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they come out tonight. If there's any changes to the starting lineup, I haven't heard anything. But if they're still going to keep Matthew Cleveland off the bench, he's obviously a starter in this league. But they've gone with the 2 bigs and Smart as their 3 imports to start the game. So that's my big question mark into this one. Is there going to be a change to the starting lineup?
Yeah, and I mean, this is a pretty deep lineup, right? We talk a lot about Scarborough in the East, but to me, Scarborough to me is a team that, they're starting to feel a little adversity. They lost some games. They've lost to Ottawa. They've lost to Niagara. So I think there's that wake-up call of we're not just going to roll through everybody here, right? Like, this is a team that, we got to take our opponents seriously. But when you talk about Javante Smart, I mean, what makes him so versatile? This is a guy to me that's, basically been an MVP candidate since he's gotten to the league. He hasn't won it, but this has been a very important player for the team and the league as well. He's a marketable guy.
For sure. And I think he would be in the conversation if the team's record was better, right? If they had a few more wins. Like I said, his stats are there. They support him. He's getting up there in franchise records. But it's more so what he does without the basketball, I think, is a very underrated part of his game. And the way he just gets guys involved, the game comes very easy and very slow to him. When you see him on the court, you think, oh, he doesn't see that. Then he flings it cross court for an open 3 in the corner for his teammate. Very, very important to this team offensively. That last game, that one home game they had against Winnipeg, he actually came off the bench. And I found that he couldn't get into rhythm. I want to say his worst game of the season. He had missed a couple before that because of injury, but that game he came off the bench and to me didn't look good, couldn't get really into rhythm. Obviously Teddy Allen had a fire first half and he was unstoppable and they just blew Ottawa out. There was no way they could come back. But it all starts with Javante. Everyone knows that, whether you play on the BlackJacks or you're playing against them, that's the one guy to slow down. And I don't think anyone really has been able to do that. Scarborough has gotten in under his skin, but there's a lot of tension between those 2 teams. I think the length, if you put a defender that has length, it kind of gives him a bit of trouble. I think with Uwat and Scarborough, he's been challenged there, but he still finds ways to score and get to the free throw line. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting matchup. And I think Winnipeg has a really good defense, like a team defense. They don't give up a lot of points. So Smart, I think, has to be more aggressive early in this game to find his baskets.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because Mike Rainbow talked about that a little bit, and I'll get to that clip a little bit later in the show. But you talk about the stat guy Ty bringing it up.
Yeah, it's a good
Stat
stat.
guy Ty's our stat guy. He's a regular on this show. Currently 0-2 in interconference away games, the only East team without a win. Those stats always kind of scare me a little bit because sometimes I am the person that believes in their due, and I think this is a team that is desperate, and we saw last time a desperate team was here, it did not bode well for Winnipeg. Winnipeg is going through its real first adversity, right? I don't see it. I was at shoot around today, and I didn't feel like there was much of a panic. They're never too high. Like, fans and the media tend to be higher on the wins, lower on the losses. But I will say they honestly do tend to be like right here. Like, it is what it is. We're in the playoffs. We need to emulate these playoff games. But one of the things that he did bring up in the interview was just in terms of Alex Fudge and what Ottawa is going to be bringing to this. Before we get to the Fudge part, because I have some clips from Missoula as well, but just talking about the urgency from Ottawa, I just want you to listen to this with me, and then we'll go over it.
Everything starts with Smart, his ability to, make everybody better, take games over individually, push the pace, get to certain spots on the floor, make big shots. But more than anything, I think the message is the urgency that they have. It's a huge game for them with where they're at in the standings and what they're trying to do, and we expect nothing but their best effort.
The urgency. You're around this team a lot more than I am. Today they seem pretty loose at shoot around, not to say not unfocused, just it kind of seems that they're taking it in stride. How have you felt about the urgency they've shown in this last stretch of, say, the last 5 games where we really haven't seen any movement in terms of who's running away with the East?
I think it's been like that all year. They know they need to win, but they're not letting the moment, as you said, a team is not going to let the moment take over. If the moment takes over, that's when you plummet. And I talked to Matthew Cleveland after their 5-game losing streak, I want to say, earlier on this year. And he said the guys are still sticking together. It's a good group. Even head coach Justin Missoula said the same thing. The togetherness has been a big, big deal all season long. Even when they've dropped a couple in a row, they've been able to stick together. And, in a league where it's just a couple of months, the guys can drift apart, start just playing for themselves, trying to get better numbers, for example, because the team's on a losing streak. But this team has been different. They've been in a lot of tight games. Like, they lost to Saskatoon twice. They were up 7 in the target time, right? That's 2 games right there. They dropped 4 games against Brampton. They lose. All of them are by single digits. So they've been in a lot of close games just at the end. Sometimes execution, maybe shot selection, bad turnovers. We saw that in the last home game against Scarborough. Guys slipped and fall and the ball was loose. So just little things. I think they need to take their time a bit with more, and they should be fine and hopefully get 1 out of the 2, and that books them their ticket. And like you said at the beginning, I think it's not just you, Joey. I think a lot of people around this league don't want to play this team in a 1-game knockout, move on into the next round because of the offensive firepower they have.
Well, and that's it. Like, and when they're clicking, they're clicking.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a team that when things are going well, they're going really well. And this is a team that, they have shooting ability, but their real strength is the interior, right? Between Fudge and Cleveland, even, Javonte Smart. These are dudes, when there's a lane, they attack that lane and they know how to finish at the rim. So I do feel like this is a team that, defense might be the key to this one. Let's actually, Joe Missoula, it's a quick clip from not Joe Missoula. Sorry, as you can see, I'm a Celtics fan, so it's hard to say Justin as a hosted show. But he talked about how they're approaching this game today.
Yeah, the game's going to be won in the details. So just trying to get the details tightened up here and shoot around, and then not focus much on the result, more focus on the process.
He sounds a lot like Joe Missoula when he talks about that, right? Like, kind of looking at the bigger picture, which is, a little bit maybe funny to hear in the sense that if you're not around them all the time, because you're like, well, hey, awesome, but the game's pretty big. Like, you got to win regardless if the details come together or not. But, what have you seen from Justin Missoula? Ottawa's gone through a few coaches now. There was a big buzz around Missoula being here. It's his first time as a head coach. What have you liked about his approach? Because this seems like this is not a today thing. This has been what's been set up from day one.
Very serious, but also I think could relate a lot to the players. You know, he's young. I think he's 28. I don't think he turns 29 until later this year,
which is crazy.
Yeah, which is insane. But the way I've been to a couple of shoot arounds and practices, but he gets involved. He's there practicing with the guys and sets and coaching that way. And a lot of guys told me just the ability to approach him and talk to him like he's one of them. So he knows how to get attention from the player that way. And yeah, the urgency, I think the togetherness has always been a big deal. And the details, that's always something he spoke about, pre-game, post-game, during practice. It's the little things for him. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? How can we fix it?
And the other one, too, is like the size, right? I think the big thing that sticks out to me with Winnipeg is when Xavier Moon was in flux of whether or not he was going to play, they went out and got Jelani Watson-Gale, who was a massive player for them in 2023, the original closer here in Winnipeg. But that was more of insurance, right? In terms of if it didn't work out with Moon, they still wanted a guard who can shoot, who can distribute, can play defensively. But then Moon comes back. So now, by default, your lineup is a lot smaller. I mean, outside of Jeremiah Tillman Jr., there's no real true big on this Winnipeg team. For me, I look at Fudge, man. Alex Fudge is a guy who, defensively is a rim protector. He can fly. And this is a team that wants to dominate. So, again, we'll go back to this clip, another clip here from Justin Missoula about the areas where he can see some of these guys standing out and what they have to do to kind of neutralize the speed and size and shooting of Winnipeg.
Yeah. I mean, Alex Fudge brings versatility to our squad, and he's also really important just in terms of leadership as well. And just bringing that level of intensity and that level of speed and size gives us the best chance to be successful. I'm expecting to see them to do what they're known for. They're known for their three-point shooting ability, and they're known for their two best players, like really getting shots up and really executing and getting things done on the offensive side. So just being prepared as that from a scout standpoint on how to necessarily put our team in the best position through the details.
How effective is this? I mean, in theory, Winnipeg, it's as simple as, get out in transition, run, use our speed, find those bodies. And then for Ottawa, it's as simple as saying, we got to use our size to our advantage, neutralize their shooters. We know who they are. But how effective is this team in getting that done?
I mean, they're a really good rebounding team this year. That's been Ottawa's problem throughout, I want to say, the franchise's history. But this year, they've really improved. Obviously, adding Isaiah Moore, a guy who's familiar with the system, the city, the organization. He started in the league and rebounding. If they leave him to one shot, again, it goes back to the starting lineup because I want to know, I imagine it's going to be Dubinsky, who's going to get a lot of minutes on Moon. Allen, they didn't really have an answer for him. I think they started doubling him late in that first matchup. And then everyone else just got easy shots and easy looks, and Winnipeg was able to run away with it. So I think it really depends who starts off on Allen. Moon's a great talent. We know he's a 3-time MVP, and that is going to be a key area for head coach Missoula and this team. I think if you can limit Winnipeg to one shot, and Ottawa likes to get out, whether it's a make or miss, because they know in transition with their athletic ability, in my eyes, they're the most athletic team in this league with Fudge, with Moore, with Smart, with Cleveland transition. Cleveland downhill, I think, is one of the better players in this league at going coast to coast and getting right to the rim. Makes it look effortless. But I think it's about leaving Winnipeg to one shot. One shot, if you can hold them to one shot, squeeze them out of that three-point line, especially Teddy, who killed you in that first half. I think you'll have a shot at winning this game. Because if they get going early, Allen or Moon, it opens the game up for the rest of the team. It's the same thing with Smart on the other side. If he gets going early or he gets the other guys involved as he likes to do, then it opens up for him because you kind of don't want to help as much, right? And then that will open up opportunities for Smart to go one-on-one.
Yeah, totally. I'm just taking a look here as I pull up the standings to give people an idea of what it's been like. And we talk about it a lot. So if you're a regular viewer, you know exactly what's going on. If you're new, welcome aboard to Game Day Live on the Target Score podcast network. If you're liking what you're seeing, subscribe if you haven't already, have those notifications on, because I did forget to put the social teas out today, and I apologize. So I'm glad people have been showing up, and of course you can catch it in its entirety on replay as soon as this is done. But taking a look at the Eastern Conference, everybody's played at least 22 games. Montreal is currently in fourth, but they have one game left. There's 2 games left for the Ottawa BlackJacks, the one going tonight. So tonight, with the win and all this convolutedness of the playoffs, if they win tonight, they would bounce ahead of Montreal, and Montreal would not be able to catch up based on tiebreakers and all this other stuff. So that's why this game is important, but it's the positioning of this. Yes, you've got Brampton at 11-11. They've got 2 games to go. Niagara's clinched their spot. They're 10-13, but you see this already. The third place team, a losing record. The second place team is only 500. How has this been for you to follow, to have, you're seeing these teams over and over again? I mean, how has this year been from a pure hoops entertainment standpoint for you?
I mean, amazing. This is what you want. You want it to go to the last day of the regular season, right? And see who's actually in and who's out. And Ottawa, lucky for them, they control their own destiny. So a win gets you in, which is super important. And then I think there are some scenarios where they can leapfrog Niagara and finish in third. Of course, they can't get up to second. Brampton owns that tiebreaker and obviously have a better record than them, but they can still push it up to third. But then do you want to be third and play on the road against Brampton, a team that's beaten you 4 times? You're 2-2 against Scarborough. You've given them their 1 loss at home. Do you want to play Scarborough on the road in an opening round in the postseason? But from a perspective, every single night going into the arena at TD Place has been a joy to call games. A bunch of them have been close, and just watching these other teams play against each other as well, I think it's great for the league.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of, the intensity, I teased this clip a little earlier. Since you're still here, I want to play this for you too, because I thought this was interesting from Mike Rainbow's standpoint, because the Sea Bears are a team that have had some high-scoring games, but they are a team that makes their name on defense, and that's where Mike Rainbow's made his name. And he was talking about the expectation of these games going forward and what to expect when the calendar goes from regular season to playoffs.
I think the other thing is we got to realize that postseason play is probably not going to be 115 to 112. Like, we got to have an urgency for every possession, and we've built some cushions and felt like, oh yeah, that's just going to continue. And as the defense gets a little bit more physical and a little bit more urgent, we're going to hit some stretches where it is harder to score, and we've got to find those. That offensive rebound stick back, or that opportunity to get to the foul line, and we can't just rely on, hey, we're going to get out and we're going to score 110 tonight. We have to have a level of appreciation for each possession.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things. I think now we're already seeing it. Like, we're not seeing a lot of century games anymore. There's a lot of the 90s and the 80s. And for me, that's where Winnipeg has been phenomenal, is where they've lost their last 2 games is Vancouver used their size, but also had Shamar Givens, who was running rampant on those guys in terms of transition. They kind of flipped the script on Winnipeg. They were the ones forcing the turnovers, getting out in transition, and Winnipeg was not able to get back defensively on time, but they also used that size. I look at tonight, I think this is a huge test for them as well because of that size. And I think Ottawa is more ready to be in that fight in terms of they've been here, they've lost, they've won. You learn a lot through losing, and they've done more of that than Winnipeg has done. But also, you talk to anybody in this league, and I don't think you've had a chance to come out here for a game yet, but this is the game, the mecca, as we call it, really, of the CEBL, and it brings the best out of everyone. How important is this game here? Like, is there any advantage to playing at, at a place like Winnipeg where the lights are just a little bit brighter, the atmosphere is a little bit louder? Like, do you think this is a good time for Ottawa to be playing this, to have a clincher in front of a hostile environment, but also kind of get your juices up before the playoffs? I mean, Winnipeg is used to this. I don't think it's the same benefit, but I feel like for a road team from the East where you don't get this a lot, it might actually kind of help rejuvenate you a little bit. Am I reading into that too much?
No, of course. I think so. I think you want to go, a lot of fans, you want to have a great game, and it's going to give you a boost. We're at the end of the season here. We win this one on the road in Winnipeg. Then now we have to go and play Edmonton. Can we get another one and feel good about ourselves having 2 good quality wins out west going into the postseason, where we're going to play one of these teams who we've been tight with all season long, and it's going to be very important. You're going to learn as a team. Ottawa's going to learn a lot about themselves tonight and over this weekend in these two must-win games. But in front of a crowd, it's like in the NBA. You go to any kind of arena, when guys tell you yes at MSG, it's the lights are a bit brighter and I want to perform. The stars are sitting courtside, right? It's the same thing here. There's a lot of people in that building, and we know that. Winnipeg, I've watched a lot of games on TV, haven't been there in person. Would love to catch a game there.
We'd love to have
you. Yeah, I'd love to come out. But for sure, like as a player, all these guys want to get there, especially in Target. You see it a lot across the league when they hit that game winner and it's a bye-bye to the crowd, or a finger over the mouth, like we won this. And you're gonna see a bit more, I think, from Ottawa. And I think they have to play with a sense of urgency. It's a must-win for them. There's no other way of labeling this game. They might try to say it isn't, or we have to just play our game and take care of the little things. But in that locker room, they know that they have to get out there and win this ball game.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I took you right off. The other thing I'm curious about is how much stock do you put into when it comes to the importance of playing at home for Ottawa? I mean, can't get too ahead of yourself at this point, but at the same token, it's kind of hand in hand. Like, it almost feels like if you get in to the playoffs, you have a good chance of getting at least that first round home game. And that's really what you're playing for, I think, at this point, is the first round with Scarborough locking up, is assuming they even get through all the rounds. But how important is it to have a game at home for Ottawa? Like we look at it here in Winnipeg, it's very important. Even though they've had some struggles in the last couple of games, they play different at home than they do on the road. Is there that same kind of urgency for Ottawa?
For sure, but it's not happening because Brampton has the tiebreaker. So unless even if Brampton loses their next two and Ottawa wins their next two, I think that makes them tied in record. So Brampton has the tiebreaker, they'll get the home game. So I think Ottawa finishing third, maybe going to Brampton, that might be better for them to play. Maybe they think they can beat them because they've been in close games all four. Scarborough did blow them out 1 out of the 4 games, and then the rest were closer. But Ottawa did win 2 and beat them over there in Scarborough. They're the only team that's been able to beat Scarborough. The last home game was really tense. I think there was 5 or 6 technicals, a couple of unsportsmanlike fouls. So I think that'd be a better matchup for like an Eastern Conference Finals game if it gets there.
And you were on this too. I'm going over the chat because we had that big confusing group chat yesterday, and I'm realizing now that I'm confusing the teams. You're right, they cannot because of the tiebreaker with Brampton. But my next question to that is, are these 2 road games, especially because it's Edmonton next, I think, right? It's Edmonton on Sunday.
The season, yeah.
And Edmonton's another team that they're in the playoffs, but there's a long distance chance that they're fighting with Saskatoon and how that's going to end up for the matchups in the West. But is it a benefit right now? Yeah, you're not at home, but you're not expected to be at home. Is it better to just get in the routine of being on the road now and maybe getting that feeling of, all right, this is what it's like to be on the road, find my road routines? And is there any benefit in that?
I never even really thought of it like that, but I think that's a great point you bring up. Because there's a big chance. I mean, there is it's most likely going to be on the road. It just depends where, right? Scarborough, Brampton, if it goes that route. So yeah, I think ending the season, they've been on the road. They played in Montreal and Niagara. They lost those 2, so they obviously need to win this. So they've been on the road for their last 4 games. Would it be nice to come back and play in front of the crowd, especially after their last home game? Of course, but that's the reality of the season, and it's just about determining where they're going to play if they get into the postseason in that first round matchup. So I think they're used to being on the road, or they have no choice. They're closing it out, and they'll be prepared.
So I'll end with this, Elias. As you're watching from Ottawa, what are you looking for today? What are your keys to tonight's game that you are looking to see them establish if they are going to get on the winning side of this game?
I think Teddy Allen absolutely just carved out the defense in that first matchup. It's a different look tonight with Moon, but I think if Allen hits his first couple of shots, you can't waste time. You have to double him even if Moon's there. I think rebounding is going to be a big key. Ottawa has an advantage there. So if they can secure rebounding, not give up second chance opportunities, get out and run, that'll play to their benefit. And then getting back on defense and defending that 3-point line. I think that's going to be key. You can't let Winnipeg get it going from beyond the arc. If they do those things really well or good enough, they have a chance at winning this game on the road.
Before I let you go, where can people find you? Because you've also got a great podcast of your own that's a little bit wider range basketball than just CBL. But where can people find you and your stuff?
Yeah, at the 3 in the Key on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We're all over the place. We post a lot on social media. We record once a week, so the episode could be found weekly. Wide range of guests: CBL, NBA, NCAA, youth sports. So we FIBA, even like overseas as well. We discuss the game of basketball in general, I guess you could say. That's where people can find us.
Awesome. Elias, thank you so much for making the time here today.
Thanks, man.
Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll be connecting soon. And if all goes according to plan for Ottawa, I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation about these playoff matchups because it's getting interesting.
Can't wait. Appreciate it, Joey. Thank you so much, man.
All right, no problem. That was Elias El-Zein, the play-by-play announcer for the Ottawa BlackJacks, helping us break it down here. Big game, as mentioned, for both teams. Going to go back to some clips. If you're just joining in, thanks for joining in. It's great to have you on board here. Like, subscribe, share it, for all the people we get here. Make sure our Seabears fans can get to the content that they want. If you appreciate it, we appreciate it. And of course, follow us on Instagram at Joey Slattery TV, at Target Score Pod. But yeah, this is a big game. Let's start with the Winnipeg side of things. Mike Rainbow talked about it today on the urgency they expect from Ottawa. Let's take a listen to what he had to say of the expectation.
Everything starts with Smart, his ability to, make everybody better, take games over individually, push the pace, get to certain spots on the floor, make big shots. But more than anything, I think the message is the urgency that they have. It's a huge game for them with where they're at in the standings and what they're trying to do. And, we expect nothing but their best effort.
You know what? And I thought this clip from I keep saying Joe Mazzulla. I wonder why. Anywho, Justin Mazzulla, not thinking his big picture. You can tell as a new coach, he's really trying to keep things, low key and focus on the things that have got him to this point, as high and low as it's been all season.
Yeah, the game's going to be won in the details. So just trying to get the details tightened up here and shoot around. And then not focus much on the result, more focus on the process.
Yeah, process. It's so funny because, as you know, I'm a Celtics fan, or at least most of you probably know, or you've seen it or had the idea that I might be. So I watch a lot of Celtics basketball. I hear a lot of Joe Mazzulla. There's a lot of Joe Mazzulla and Justin. You could tell that they're related. But these are very much a lot of the principles that you see with Joe Mazzulla, right? Like even when they were winning, it's never getting too high. It's trying to keep things even and talk about those things day after day and creating those good habits. It's just a little different in the CBL. As Elias had talked about, it's a compact season. It's hard to really build. You almost need it immediately. It's such a challenge for coaches in this league. But in his first year as a head coach, he's done phenomenal. He's had to deal with the ins and outs of players. He's got a good core. And he seems to be, a good reflection of the character of this team. It's a team that's also emotional, as Elias said. You're going to see some flexing tonight. You're going to see some shushes. You're going to see a lot of stuff. Winnipeg doesn't tend to play that way. DJ Burns will get into it and, get fired up about things. But overall, they've been pretty even-keeled as well. But Xavier Moon, who is now going into his fourth game, he's, just has to be on the active roster for the next two, but he's trying to get his rhythm. Mike Rainbow talked about it. He's very happy with where Xavier Moon is. And as we've talked about on this show and on the podcast, it's a lot for him to find that chemistry with his teammates, and his teammates to get the chemistry with him, I think, is more important. But he talked about this game because, again, if you're just tuning in, this game for Winnipeg truly does not matter. So if they lose, the only concerning thing is they have a 3-game losing streak and all those games were at home. But that is all that in terms of standings or opportunity. Nothing changes because win or lose, they have to win that game in Vancouver on Sunday. We'll get to that in a second. But Xavier Moon doesn't want to think of that. He's saying tonight's game is a big game.
Obviously, they're going to play hard. It's desperation time. Getting out to those last couple of games, everybody's trying to make their push for the playoffs. This game does mean a lot to us. We need to win the game just as much as they do. So we're going to come out with a ton of energy in this first quarter, man, and try to put them away early. We got to get out and run in transition, try to negate their size, get into their bodies. We know we're going to have to box out, rebound as a group. So that's one of our main focuses going into tonight.
Yeah, and Smirkio, what's up, Smirks? This is a must win. In a lot of ways, it is. Like, again, just proverbial must win. Win or lose, it doesn't mean anything. But I think from a morale standpoint, a confidence standpoint, not only do they have to win, they have to get some players involved. Jeremiah Tillman Jr. has been playing great. They have to get him involved early, as our friend Joe in the UK said, and he's got to stay out of foul trouble. I mean, this, he's had too many games where he's getting into foul trouble. I think tonight's going to be another good challenge for him. This team is built a lot like that Vancouver team that we saw, but with more skilled bigs. So this is going to be a test for Jeremiah Tillman, but also a test for the guards. They have to rebound. There needs to be team rebounding tonight if they want to come out on top. This is a team that Winnipeg should win, and I'm saying that objectively. It's a better team on paper. They've played better throughout the season, but Ottawa is known for beating big teams. They've beat Scarborough. They've gone into Scarborough and beat them. They have major beef with Scarborough. I am praying that is a playoff matchup. And I almost wish there were series, because I would love to see Ottawa and Scarborough go at it for, 2 to 5 games, right? Like whether it's a best of 3 or a best of 5, like, oh man, this is where I'm like, CBL needs a longer playoffs for sure. It's been awesome. But yeah, I think a lot of people are treating this as a must win, Smirkio. Hey, what's up, Cam? Good to see you here. Another one from Smirkio. If we get this tonight, at least they're coming into Vancouver tied. So here's the thing. Let's get into it now. Let's see if I can pull up the stats here one more time. The thing about what you're bringing up, and I see where you're coming from here, Smirks, but here's the record. So if they win tonight, they're 14-9. So they're tied record. They have the tiebreaker, sure, but it doesn't matter because right now Vancouver has the tiebreaker. They've won 2 games. Winnipeg has won that one. And mind you, it was a big one. So keep that in mind. It was a 33-point win in Winnipeg that first time Vancouver was in town when Kyle Julius got suspended. So let's say they win this game. It's an equal record. Sure, they win the next game. They win outright. It's just a record thing, because they would have one more win. And more importantly, for those that watch the Target Score Winnipeg Weekly podcast, I predicted 15 wins. So if they really care about old Joe, they got to get that win. They got to get 2 wins to make my prediction crystal clear and true. Now, let's say they lose this game. If they lose this game, they are 13-10. And if they go to whatever. Then they go, because they've got the 2 games, right? There's only one. So for Vancouver. So at that point, it would be the 10 losses. They would go into Vancouver, and it would be the tiebreaker, which they have the tiebreaker, right? So the Smirkio, they'll get it for me. I love it. But that's the thing. They have the tiebreaker, but they would have to win in Vancouver to have a tied record. Right. So if they have the tied record and they've split games, the 2 wins each, Winnipeg would have the head-to-head. So regardless of whether they win this game or lose this game, they still have to win that game on Sunday to have a chance. And if they lose that game, they don't win the West. They'll still be in second. It doesn't mean they don't get home advantage for more than the first game. It all depends on what happens with that first game in Vancouver and whoever they're going to play. But this is why it's a must win in some ways. But generally speaking, this is not a must win. Like this is actually the game. If they're going to have a bad game and lose, like this would be the one. This would be the one to lose, because you have a second chance. There's no turning back in Vancouver. So we'll see that. Calgary going to beat Vancouver. Stat guy Ty throwing it out there. All right. We got where are we? I had a couple I wanted to get here too. Justin Masula looks like Carlton Banks. Didn't see it. Yeah, but like a way more intense version for sure. Trey Mack will be integral to us winning today, in my opinion, says Smirkio. Yeah, dude. Here's the thing. I think last game he played okay, but he had missed a couple of games. He was a guy that trying to get back in his rhythm. He's an important guard for this team, the way they're built. Yes, he's a guard. They have depth at guard, but he is probably the strongest physical guard they have. And they're going to need him, I think, more than anything, not even for scoring. They need him for rebounding, particularly at the defensive end. He's a guy that's going to be on the help for the bigs, and I think he's very much capable of playing in that role. And we've seen him play in that role. He can hit big shots. We've seen that too. But no, Trey McGowan's, I think, going forward is going to be a massive piece to this puzzle. And then you even look at, Jelani Watson-Gale is the one that I'm kind of looking at right now. I'm curious to see. We don't know. We haven't gotten the scratches yet. Everybody was practicing as normal today when they had their, their morning around here. As you take a look at yourself. But Jelani Watson-Gale is a guy that I think is struggling coming over from England and trying to get used to, the time change and things like that. I talked to him. I know he's trying to get his sleep patterns when he first got here, because you got to think, he came in, I think they were playing in Alberta and then Saskatchewan. So, he went from like one time zone to another time zone. I think that this is a big one now, this time frame, these next two games. If we're going to see Jelani, how we're going to see him used. And how will he respond? Because now he's got more time to settle into just being in Canada. And I'm not making excuses, but if any of you have traveled overseas and come back, just for a normal person like you and I that, have normal jobs or whatever, it could be a bit of an adjustment. Now, imagine playing pro basketball in the thick of a season where the playoff race is totally on. So there's going to be some adjustments. You see Isaiah Osborne there. Another guy that really needs to find his groove. He is just slumping. And I'll say this, I think he's going to have a good game tonight. I think he's a guy that is going to have a response after the last few games. As mentioned, he was talking to Christian O'Mell on CJOB, and the one thing that he said was, I'm a shooter. And I'm confident it's going to go in every time I release the ball. And I have to think that way and not let the misses get into my head. Last game, for sure, you saw it on, the shoulders kind of sloping a bit. He was having some reaction because he's a shooter who normally hits. And he's, typically a big moment shooter. And it seemed like as the game went on where you thought he was going to find it, he couldn't. And I feel like, you were starting to see it a little bit, but I think he's been very good in terms of that shooter's mentality of blocking out the bad and just focusing, it's a miss, on to the next possession. And as, Mike Rainbow has talked about, throughout the season, but he said it again today, is just how important he is outside of shooting. And his teammates believe he's going to be able to shoot too, and he's going to find his rhythm. There's 2 games left, probably a perfect time to have that slump and get it out of the way. The confidence is there for him, and it's very much there with his coaches and teammates.
He continues to contribute to the team in so many other ways. I mean, obviously we need him to make shots. And, when we're at our best, he's making shots, but we also need him to rebound and defend and talk and, fix situations that are, problematic because of his, veteran IQ and the things that he sees and his voice and his ability to, help formulate winning possessions.
Keep shooting. I don't care if you miss 10. If I pass you 10 more, shoot the next 10. We believe in him. He's confident. I have no issues with him shooting the ball at any time in the game, and I feel like he'll be big for us tonight.
True leader. That guy Ty taking a shot at old Joe, quote, normal person. I said we're normal people, Stat Guy Ty. That includes you, right? So you're welcome. That's a compliment. That is a compliment to you. And when I say normal, I don't mean by acting normal. I just mean I don't play professional basketball. Although I'm sure if you saw on Instagram, I can hit a few in a suit. The suited assassin tends to show up every now and again, but don't expect to see me in the lineup anytime soon. XO204. Sorry I didn't get to this sooner. I had this spotted here, but yes, I am calling this game tonight. I'm pumped to be on the call here for the last one of the year. And I'll be doing the play-by-play for the first home game. It'll just be like a normal stream. So looking forward to that. And then I'm not sure when I'll be back on the sidelines again. It all depends how things go. Yeah, let's go. I love it. I love the energy. Smirks, you'll see the haircut. Got to tune in tonight on CBC Gem, CBC Gem, CBL Plus. There it is, and YouTube. And I can't take my earphones off. I have my hat on because I was out taking the dog, and I had to go. At shoot around. It's humid outside. I have curly hair. I'm just saving you guys. I don't want to be a distraction, right? I don't want you to be distracted by my Albert Einstein, Cosmo Kramer hair. I thought, you know what? I'm going to put my hat on, and apparently that, Jimmy Slats, coming in here and causing a distraction anyway. Jimmy Bricks, as I'm known as in another life. You'll see it from the sidelines. There you go. There you go. And how many of you guys are going out and watching the game? And if you have any predictions for today, hit it up in the live chat. Thanks for everybody in the live chat here. It's been lively. Love to see it. And again, I'm so bad at checking the Instagram side, but for those on Instagram that have or may have commented, appreciate you guys. If you want to come over to the YouTube side, just makes it a lot easier for me to get to those and answer those questions or feature your texts or chats. Love to see it, but appreciate you all being here today on what is a big day. I know I'm going to put this out for you, Cam. Section 109 all the way. See you there all the time. Love chatting with you before games. And I know that you're like, I think you got to get like the Section 109 thing going. I think this is like, you guys could be like the bleacher creatures, man. Get the craziness out there. You're close enough to the floor. Teams can hear you. You can have an impact on the game. I think you have to got to take 109 and turn it into, I don't know, some sort of marketing thing. Make your own little team out of it. I dropped the ball today. Yeah, thank you. It's really confusing, Stat Guy Ty. This is Andrew, and hey, good to have you on, Andrew. Don't worry. If you missed anything on this show, you could totally tune in on the replay. I think you could even rewind live if you want to watch in, reverse. That works too. But this will be available throughout the game. So if there's anything you missed, go on. Again, you could stay tuned on at Joey Slattery TV on Instagram, at Target Score Pod on Instagram. And then obviously you found it on YouTube, but Target Score Podcast on YouTube. We will have the post-game show tonight as well following the game. I can't give you an exact time, but I'll try to give everybody some time to get home. But if you've got your phones, tune in, and we will break down the game today as we go, as the, season winds down. This is crazy that it's the last home game of the year. Like, this is kind of hitting me now where it's weird because we know that home playoff game's coming up, but yeah, it's just like this summer has flown by. And the nice thing about Winnipeg this year, aside from losing Trey Scott, like, they've got all their guys. Right. I don't remember the last time the Sea Bears have had all of their top guys ready to go for playoffs with this much runway. I know Xavier Moon's only played 5 games, but he's been here since June. So this is a guy that's been involved with the system. So there's really no excuses for Winnipeg anymore. They've got 2 games to figure it out tonight and then Sunday on national TV in Vancouver, another afternoon game. And then there's no more tests. It's the real thing. And, Mike Rainbow said it the other day after a loss. He said, we're treating these games like they're the playoffs to prepare for playoffs. But if we lost that game, we would be cleaning out our lockers. Well, come Thursday next week, if you lose that game, you're cleaning out your lockers. So this is your time to work out the kinks, to try and build the chemistry for the guys like Xavier Moon, Teddy Allen, although they've been working great. Isaiah Osborne is the guy I think right now that really needs to find his groove. And, Jeremiah Tillman Jr., but he needs the help. And I think that's the biggest thing for me right now in these next 2 games. You're playing 2 teams that have, qualified bigs. I know Vancouver's going through a bit of a lull here. And honestly, I don't know what to expect from Vancouver, whether that be Sunday, whether that be the playoffs. Vancouver is a team that's been dealing with injuries. James Karnick apparently has been dealing with a lower body injury. Sounds like Dominic Parolin has been as well. Parolin was the guy to me that really stuck out in that game against Vancouver. So we'll see what they have. But right now, I think Winnipeg can't be focusing on that. Just like tonight, Ottawa's coming out. That they've got Javonte Smart and Alex Fudge, Matthew Cleveland. They've got a ton of firepower. But you have to focus on yourself and close down that firepower, regardless of whether or not, it's a certain player or a certain team. You have to get them into playing to your game. And I think the last couple of games, we saw it where Winnipeg let the other team dictate the style of play that they wanted to play. Very much so against Vancouver. The Brampton game's a little bit different, a little bit weirder. There's different elements to that game, but a loss is a loss is a loss. So at the end of the day, you've gotten those out of the way. I think the silver lining on this, and I've said it on the podcast for sure, might have said it in a post-game show, but I think the silver lining is you don't have to worry about, now you're reminded that we are not invincible at home. You've lost to some teams that are not great. And even the teams that are good, like the Vancouvers, they were not fully staffed, right? They came in, that was a game that Winnipeg should have rolled, and we would be having a totally different conversation today of what this game means and what Sunday's game means. It makes the regular season finale that much more interesting. But there were some stern reminders that just because you have a good team and two of the best players in this league's history sharing the floor, you still have to play like you are the best. That is what makes you the best. You're not just awarded these games because other people have crowned you. Listen, I know you guys are excited. I know you guys are feeling championship vibes and you think this is the year, but let's remind ourselves, we thought it was the year before. I think last year was maybe the first year where it was kind of like, championship weekend might be a savior because we just have to win 2 games essentially. But, this is a team that's been favored in the past and is lost to that team. Edmonton was one of those teams, right? And Edmonton there's a chance that Edmonton is the team that they play, or might have to play at some point. So you can't worry about that. You can't worry about Ottawa. You can't worry about Vancouver. You got to worry about how are we operating as a unit. Offensively, this is a team that works best when they're moving the ball around and their shooters are shooting and hitting at a high rate and Teddy doing Teddy things. It's a luxury to have Teddy Allen and Xavier Moon. We saw it last game. They had 29 and 28 points respectively, Teddy and Xavier, and they still lost. Talk about the call all you want on Sean East. There was contact for sure. I don't think it should have been a foul, but it is what it is. It was a little disappointing to see it end that way, but you got to put it in the past and realize that you just got to show up and show out. Like, it's not just about showing up. Like, you have to play and you got to get people into your style of play. Get out on the run, get back on defense, slow them down. And if they get in their half court sets, you got to be ready for that physicality down low and you got to be ready to help. And it's going to come down to rebounding. I don't have it on me, but I know Stat Guy Ty brought it out on the last live podcast. That was a pretty lopsided rebounding effort recently, and that is something that needs to be fixed. They don't have the size. Jeremiah Tillman Jr., his stats don't jump out at you, and it's not because he's not working hard. It's because a lot of times he's the only one battling 2 or 3 guys on the other team. 50 to 28. Thanks, Stat Guy Ty. I'll put this up so people can see. That is not a playoff stat, a successful playoff stat. They 100% have to get better on the boards, particularly on the defensive end. Like, yes, the offensive boards are great and the second chance opportunities are needed, but you certainly can't be giving it up at the defensive end. And if they're in that half court set, you have to put so much pressure on their guards. You have to get in those passing lanes and try to force those turnovers. That is when Winnipeg is at their best. And if we see that tonight, I think it will work in Winnipeg's favor. Sorry, I'm just trying to get caught up on the. Okay, let's start with Smirkio. Season felt like a breeze. Last year's felt like a drag, but 100%. It was a different year last year, and it kind of felt last year like. The team just wasn't as connected as this team feels, like, if that makes sense. And this team does feel different. And even in these lulls and going through the L's recently, it doesn't hit the same as it did last year. Vibes are still high when you're in the gym. They seem to be supportive of one another. So I'm optimistic for this team. I'm just not jumping ahead. Should they win that first game? Yes, it doesn't matter who they play, whether it's Saskatoon or Edmonton, they should win that first game. They should be making a playoff run this year. That second round game, better if you play it at home, but I believe they can beat Vancouver on the road if that is the scenario that plays out. I don't think it's make or break. We talk about it like it is, and obviously you guys want to be at the game as opposed to watching it on TV, and I totally get that. The team wants to play at home. The organization would love to see 10,000 fans in attendance. Like, I'm thinking about the finals. If it does get to that point, the only thing I do think about, could you imagine if we had 15,000 fans out there? Like think about that. This is a team that has had close to 12,000 fans for a playoff game. Imagine a finals game. I think it would be phenomenal and sold out. And I think it would be a sports moment in Winnipeg that we'd be talking about for a long time. Depends how much they feed Wiggins to try and unsettle the Sea Bears. I love how Wiggins is Winnipeg enemy number 1. Absolutely my favorite thing. Jimmy, how many $5 hot dogs are you downing tonight? Oh, dude. Hey, I'm 0 as much as I would love to. Maybe I will. Maybe for the sake of celebrating $5 hot dogs. But buddy, I'm getting up there. My metabolism is not up there anymore, and I've got some suits I gotta fit in. the suited assassin doesn't have a lot of space to work with as it is. But if I'm going to keep my high clip from the 3-point line in my suit, I can't be eating too many of those $5 hot dogs, as enticing as that may be. Oh yes, Smirkio should have been a tech, which is funny because he got a tech in that game for flopping. So funny you should bring that up. Smirkio bringing this up too, because we've talked about this too, and I'm just going through some comments here as we wrap up. We should have brought back Simi to go along with Tilly. Yeah, but I honestly, like, I honestly think, and this is just speculation on my part as I look at the construction of the roster, I honestly believe that if the Xavier Moon thing panned out earlier, like if there wasn't so much doubt around what his situation was going to be, I honestly think Simi Shitu would have been in the mix, or at least a conversation, or someone like him. I think in a perfect world, they had Xavier Moon and they were finding that second big to shore up. I think DJ Burns has done a phenomenal job in that end. He's kind of like their swing man. He can play that guard position, but he can, get into the post. He's strong. He's explosive. He's that, emotional charge that they need at times. But it would have been nice, I think, from a roster perspective to have that one more big. But again, like no team has the perfect roster, right? A lot of them have really good rosters. So it's like, as much as you'd want that, there are a lot of teams in this league, Smirks, that would want this roster as it is right now. I honestly think that this is a team that if you told me I can have Xavier Moon and Teddy Allen on the same team and both are getting their shots and they're going to break records, you didn't even tell me who else is on the team or any of their backgrounds. Like, would you not take that? It's still a tough team to guard. They lost 2 games. You're not going to win every game. You want to win every game. Mike Rainbow said that to us today at practice. You want to win every game. You're not going to win every game, right? It's those highs and those lows. But I think the issue is with Winnipeg fans, and I mean, you guys are the fans, so you can get into the comments and talk about this if you want. But I think it's the fans' memory of years past and what has happened and the disappointment. So everything feels a little bit hotter, a little bit heavier when it comes to the losses, particularly. And I think it's nice to see people get excited about wins, because I felt like last year, even the wins were like, yeah, but we're still not where we need to be, was kind of the conversation we kept hearing. But yeah, this is a team obviously that wants to win, but understands they're not going to win them all. And let's be frank, they had a huge, awesome role at home up until those last 2 games. It's a reason why they're fighting for first in the West. So as alarming as it might feel that they lost to Brampton and Calgary at home, and Vancouver at home, that was, a short-staffed Vancouver, they're still in the mix. Everything up to this point has led them here. So we can't focus too much on the last 2 games and, sign it off as this is the team and this is where we're going. Because I know the vibe, and I know, you guys out there, I talk to you in person in DMs. I see you in the comments. If they win those next 2 games, your confidence is going to be sky high. Right. And that's good and awesome. But at the same token, they've not won a playoff game. So it doesn't matter if you're playing at home or on the road, who's on the roster on the other side. You have to know your personnel, how to deploy them. And I think Mike Rainbow's starting to get that a little bit, right? He's got some new tools in here. He's got some decisions he hasn't had to really make earlier on in the season, at least with the kind of, repercussions of who you're sitting. So these next 2 games are important. If they win it, confidence should be high. But I think if they get past that first game, regardless of who they play, I think that's where things are going to get interesting. And I think where you can start believing like maybe this is the year. Because I don't know how this fan base will respond after a playoff win. I've never seen it happen. Stat Guy Ty, we should have got Mitch Creek. Yeah, and does Vancouver have Mitch Creek? Still don't know that. So that'll be an interesting thing for Sunday too, because he only has to play 1 more game. He's been on the active roster. They've been preparing for him to be there. Whether or not he's there is a whole different thing. But that would be something if he can make that work. But here's the thing. Mitch Creek or no Mitch Creek, he's been on Vancouver the last 2 years. And guess how many championships Vancouver has won? 0. Just goes to show you can have the best player in the league. You could have the best record in the league. It does not matter when it comes to playoffs, particularly when it's single elimination. If it's single elimination, 1 bad game costs you. This is why I love the finals, right? If it is a Winnipeg Scarborough final, and I think I say Scarborough Winnipeg because those are the 2 teams that have their core guys. There's no big injuries. Like, I know Cat Barber hasn't been playing for Scarborough, but like you've got Miles Powell, you've got Frank Mitchell, Traquavion Smith has been playing great. Winnipeg has their dudes. So, I think this, like, if you get a best 2 out of 3, the best team is going to win, right? Like you still have to string 2 wins together. You don't have that luxury. You don't have a night off in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. So you got to win those games. You got to stay focused. You can't think about the past. Again, the past is the past. Different head coach, different rosters, right? And you talk to Teddy Allen, he will tell you time and again that if they had EJ Anasike in that first year for the playoffs, it probably would have been a whole different story. But yeah, still surreal. They had Tajay and Mitch in 2024, and they lost. And those are the back-to-back MVPs. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get too confident. Even Kyle Julius said that before he got the suspension the last time he was here. They've been at the top of the mountain in the regular season. Doesn't mean rhymes with hit and an S in front. Doesn't mean anything. You got to win in the playoffs. Winnipeg is in that position. These games are important, but let's keep it in perspective. They are important, but they don't really mean anything. This team is still in the playoffs. They have to play who they play, whether they play Vancouver in the first round or in the conference final. It doesn't matter. They have to play them. They have to play whoever's in front of them and be ready for whatever comes next. So these games will be fun to see how they go and how they pan out and give you a good idea what they're like for the playoffs. But when the playoffs start, it's a whole new season, baby, and I'm super stoked for it. That is going to be it for me. I appreciate all you guys coming in here today. So much fun. We'll obviously have Game Day Live on Sunday, so have the notifications on because that one's going to be an early one. It's a 2:30 start local time here in Winnipeg for that afternoon nationally televised game in Vancouver. Bright side there, they've won the national game on the road. They lost the 2 at home, so maybe they'll have a little luck there too. But we will have your pregame show here, Game Day Live, on Sunday and the postgame tonight and tomorrow. So make sure you have your notifications on. Like, subscribe, share, follow. Love the support. Love hanging out with you guys. We will see you guys soon. Remember, at Pod on Instagram, at Joey's Saturday on Instagram. Have those notifications on because you do not want to miss any episodes. We will see you soon. Enjoy the game tonight.